from China was around, 8%. Today, it is 27%. It is, a little over 3%, three times. So Pakistan's performance with regard to exports is greater than Pakistan's performance with regard to import. If you look at number, that's deceptive. So we've been facilitated in the process of this trade corridor. And lastly, we are into the second phase of CPAC, and we are into the second phase of Pakistan-China Free Trade Agreement. And the second phase is going to bring new realities into fact. Just today, there was in the newspaper that 3 billion plus agreement has been jointly signed by Pakistan and Chinese authorities over CPAC to turn around the fate of Karachi Port Trust, and that's going to be considered as a game changer. So China and Pakistan, Pakistan is very fortunate to have two leading economies in the world. In a very short period of time, India and China are going to be the leading economies. We need to learn to live with peace. China has been a help to Pakistan. Pakistan needs to learn and need to celebrate a few things before choosing to find fault. There are always fault lines between the relationship between any two countries, but those fault lines must not be forgotten, but they must not be overemphasized at the cost of celebrating the success of the relationship that the two countries have. Thank you very much.
बहुत शुक्रिया डॉक्टर साहब. हमारे साथ जो हैं वो डॉक्टर अफजल मक्सी, part of the Punjab University, Professor Dr. Abdul Maksi, Pakistan Study Center, and also established a China Center within the Pakistan Study Center. मैं उनसे गुजारिश करूँगा डॉक्टर साहब से कि वो
Thank you very much, Marisa, for giving me this opportunity. I'm also feeling honored to be here in the presence of the Consul General of China and all other very distinguished panelists. For me, learning from the China's very wonderful experience and the amazing achievement which they have done as the elimination of poverty in the world, being the largest population of the world, they have got eliminated poverty. This is the biggest lesson which we can have from China, that because we are always under the burden of the population, we always been saying that our population is too much and we cannot afford it. So this is the lesson that how they have changed this population into very, you can say, useful human resources, which not only they got eliminated the poverty, but now they are going to become the superpower in the economy as well, and the superpower of the world. As we have seen that after 1978, when the opening of the economy was started from China, and over the period of 40 years, we have seen that they have got 800 million people out of the poverty line. And some very interesting facts which I want to add that if we break up this 40 million, 800 million people in 40 years, it becomes 17 million in a year, 1.4 million a month, 46,000 people per day, and 1,900 people per hour. It is the breakup that if we calculate this, that this is thus the gigantic mission which they have completed. And they adopted a very multi-pronged policy while getting rid of this elimination of the poverty, that they adopted a small-scale relief to the common people, and also the large-scale development which they adopted, and they very successfully. One of the programs which they started was DBAO, which they started in 1990, and which was focused for the elimination of poverty, and it very successfully completed 4 phases of this program, and that program ultimately achieved this goal. And from that, if we examine the policies adopted by the Chinese government targeting the elimination of poverty, one was very interesting about the small-scale villages They have very specific program for villages and targeted villages, and where they utilized all the human resources, and this human resource through vocational training and through, you can say, technology, they have got benefit out of this biggest population of the world. And now coming to Pakistan, that Pakistan can get benefit out of this achievement of China. And Pakistan is also, you know, that Human Development Index, Pakistan is also suffering from this kind of a low developed country. And we have very good relations with China, no doubt. We have celebrated 70 years of Pakistan-China relationship recently. And we are entering into the second phase of CPEC. I would recommend that there are three or four areas which can be focused for getting fruits for Pakistan and as well as for China. So that can be a win-win situation, which is also the dream of President Xi Jinping, that he believes in shared destinies and shared economies. That Pakistan being the fifth populated country of the world, if we target the talent cultivation, the people-centric approach, that the enhancement of the vocational training for the largest section of the people, and the youngsters, they are the biggest chunk of the Pakistani population. If we focus and we can learn and we can share the experience from China for this talent cultivation in Pakistan, this is, I think, can be a way forward. The second, we can have also an advantage where we can join hands and we can get better benefits, that is the agriculture. Pakistan is the agricultural country. 20% of the Pakistan GDP comes from agriculture, and China is also, you can say, very advancing in the agriculture field. And if we join hands, and Pakistan can benefit from the hybrid seeds, from the, you can say, pesticides, and also new experiences like interchanging crops and this kind of technology and experiments which have been done by China, Pakistan can get benefit. Immediately Pakistan can benefit from this, and we can change the destiny of our nation as well. And the other point which was also mentioned is about the, you can say, the tourism. As has been mentioned, the Chinese are very fond of tourism, and they, even the lowest income group of China, family of China, they also prefer to go Thailand and some. Why not Pakistan? We have to look into this phenomena, that why Pakistan cannot attract the largest visitors from China. And same is the case that if we ease the visa facilities for Pakistani as well, and Pakistani tourists can go to China in large number, that would also be very good for the people-to-people contact, and as I was saying, the people-centric approach between the two countries, we can benefit, we can take benefit of it. So I think that the Chinese experiment with the poverty, which they adopted like the program, the small-scale reliefs, and also the large-scale development program, they can be borrowed from China, because we are also facing such kind of poverty in our rural areas especially. So I think that Pakistan government should sit with the Chinese government and also can replicate some of the programs which they very successfully launched in China. And lastly, definitely the employment is job creation is the key for sustainable economic growth. And if we go for agriculture, join hands, and the talent cultivation, vocational training, and industrial relocation, they are also going for, you can say, an infrastructure development, which we have very successfully done, and we are on it with both countries under the CPEC. So the industrial relocation is also going to create a big job market, which can also be a very good factor for the poverty elimination in Pakistan. With this, I come to the end of my comments. Thank you very much.
बहुत शुक्रिया डॉक्टर मक्सी साहब। डॉक्टर मक्सी साहब जो हैं वो विजिटिंग प्रोफेसर भी हैं चाइना यूनिवर्सिटीज़ के अंदर, और हर साल भी शायद 2 दफ़ा कम अज़ कम जरूर जाते हैं विजिटिंग। मैं शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ। मेरे लिए बहुत ही शुक्रिया अदा करूँ मुकाम है डॉक्टर कैस साहब यहाँ तशरीफ फरमा है. डॉक्टर कैस साहब इज़ ए लीडिंग पाकिस्तानी इकोनॉमिस्ट. डॉक्टर कैस साहब की खास बात एक ये भी है कि his family is established in the Socialist Party in Pakistan. His father was Aslam, is the founder of the Socialist Party and also part of the Communist Party. और पाकिस्तान के अंदर उनको सियार असलम साहब को माओ कहा जाता था. तो मेरे लिए ज़ाती तौर पे डॉक्टर कैस साहब का आना मैं बहुत शुक्रगुजार हूँ. और मैं क्या कह सकता हूँ कि वो जो उनका वो समझते हैं वो बेहतर हो तो इस मौजू के मुताबिक गुफ्तगू फरमाएं. डॉक्टर कैस.
Thank you very much, sir. Consul General China and the other Chinese friends and our friend from Institute of International Relations and Media Research, thank you for inviting me. A lot has been said and two of my students have said it beautifully, others have said also. I have noted down some things that you allow me. China is the most populated country in the world with a population of 1.45 billion people. In 1957, China's GDP per capita was as low as US $68.20. Today, by the end of 2021, the GDP per capita of China will reach US $8840,000. Total FDI inflow to China in 2021 were US $75.3 billion, while total FDI outflow of China to world in 2021 are about US $200 billion. And People's Republic of China is the second biggest investors in the world after USA. How did People's Republic of China make it all possible? Before I say anything else, one thing has to be said, and that is that it is led by the Communist Party of China, which is a people's grassroots level party which comes from down to up rather than an elitist political party like most of our political parties. We'll have to go back to the grassroots, learn from the Chinese Communist Party, and then we can achieve what they have achieved, one of the fastest growing, rather the fastest. In my view, Chinese Communist Party built its economy and its society on the following pillars of emancipation and growth. Firstly, it should be remembered that China's society is a blend of ancient traditions and modern techniques and technological thinking that has its roots in the philosophy of Confucius. The ideological transformation of the People's Revolution of Mao Zedong that transformed China from rural sleeping giant into a modern urban society with international work habits. That the change from economic planning towards a more free market economy by Deng Xiaoping, and now the revolutionary framework of futuristic vision of President Xi Jinping that would link the world to China through One Belt and One Road initiative and his initiative of eradicating poverty. I should congratulate China on its 72nd birthday. Secondly, and more importantly, China built a uniform scientific system of health, education, and skills that empowered her population to value added and generate income. Or, in other words, China invested seriously in its human resource and its future generations. We should learn from that. Thirdly, China inculcated honest international work habits in its population, in both its men and women on equal basis. We should learn from that. Fourthly, China invested in its infrastructure seriously, making it possible not only economic linkages from farms to factories. All urban centers of China are also linked in its economy to the world economy. We should learn from that. Sixth, China, through its quick justice system, rid its society from corrupt practices and did not shun from punishing even its powerful elite. We should learn from that. Seventh, China decentralizes business environment and created synergies between service deliveries in the public sector and its personal innovative incentives in the private sector. We don't have those synergies. We have not been able to, I'm talking about Pakistan, create synergies
in our SME sector. Eighth, China promoted the environment of ease of doing business and promoted linkages of its exportable small industry with international businesses houses in order to promote capital accumulation among small businesses so that they can become job creators and income generators, and attracted for foreign business houses to invest and produce in China. We should do that. We can't create the wheel again. We should learn from others, especially China. There are other countries in the region and in the world. Ninth, China allows through governments and industries and universities research and innovation in new technologies, the processes and materials that they translated into new opportunities for income generation. Remember, China has a rover on Mars, and China has just brought back its three astronauts from its space station. They have created a linkages not only on this Earth, they have created a linkage between Mars and this Earth. We are far behind in technology, and so the only way forward, as far as I see, is Pakistan's CPEC agreement and potential of reduction of poverty in Pakistan. Pakistan is the fifth largest country for population with per capita income of $1543. Pakistan government and society has to initiate all the above along with international cooperation and technological transfer to speed up its economic growth and help its population create higher income for themselves and for others in order to remove poverty in Pakistan. We should have, again, saying, should not have an elitist approach, we should have a pro-people approach, pro-youth approach. Signed and initiated in 2015, CPEC as on 2020 is worth $62 billion. A vast network of highways and railways are to be built under the CPEC that will span the length and breadth of Pakistan. Modern transportation network built under CPEC will link seaports in the coast and ports of Gwadar and Karachi with another and northern Pakistan, as well as with points further north in western China, Central Asia, linking Pakistan with China, Russia and Europe. We should use that. We should stop relying on across the oceans. We should rely on the synergies in the province, and I agree with my colleague that we should also have that linkages with India, and with my colleague that we should keep the Kashmir problem away and develop our economic relations. Apart from vast networks of road and railways, CPEC envisages an energy projects. And as of today, with the help of China, there is an ambitious Karachi coastline plan of worth $3.5 billion. If Pakistan could build this capacity and capabilities of its youth and population, the country would harvest enormous growth potential and business opportunities. We should, CPEC is for me a river of gold. We should harvest that gold, but we have not built from 2015 to 2021 the capacity of the population of Pakistan to harvest growth from CPEC and to reduce poverty levels. This is the best way forward for Pakistan to come out of poverty and rely upon its own resources. Ladies and gentlemen, cooperation with China to increase its exports and link SMEs to the Chinese and Central Asian markets, to elimination of poverty in the country and to increase in its economic growth. That would lead to reduce its reliance on foreign debt as well as reduce its trade deficit in the future. So I believe that yes, CPEC is now the only way forward for Pakistan's population through synergies in SMEs in order to harvest those opportunities